it would really help and it might spur the demand.
Okay. I have Mr. Rashesh Shah also, Chairman Edelweiss Group and past President of FICCI with us. Thank you very much, Mr. Shah, for joining us. We were just discussing what has been part of, or what is part of the pre-budget memorandum of FICCI. First of all, your initial comments, and then maybe after that you can answer this question specific to a proposal which says large and well-governed NBFCs should be converted into banks. How is that going to help, Mr. Shah?
I think as we have seen, I think the last 1 year, the government and Reserve Bank have been able to salvage the economy mainly using the liquidity and the monetary side of that. We are hoping that in this budget, even the fiscal side, government has been very prudent in spending money up till now. They hold back their ammo. But we do think that though things are improving, it needs a boost from the government, and what we have done on the monetary side can be done on the fiscal side. Now, to answer your question, on the monetary side, for economy to grow, credit growth is going to be very important, and we are not looking at the next 1 year. If you look at the next 5 to 10 years, if India's ambition of being a $5 trillion and then a $10 trillion GDP is to be achieved, we have to increase credit availability in the economy, especially to the SMEs and the smaller firms and the individual borrowers and all, which has been not available for a lot of even credit-worthy borrowers have not got credit. So our current credit to GDP ratio is close to about 50-55%. Country of our size, scale and our growth rate ambitions should be close to 100%. So we need to increase credit availability, credit delivery, and eventually also credit cost for a lot of borrowers in India. For that, I think the banking system needs to be expanded. So in the past, as you know, we had PSU banks, then we added private banks. We have a little bit of bond market, but in the last couple of years, it has gone through its own upheaval, and we have NBFCs. These are the four categories of institutions which deliver credit to the individuals. I think the banking part has been really very robust, and we expanded from PSU banks to private banks. We have seen a huge increase in credit. I think NBFCs, which are now about 20% of the total credit market, at least 10% of that can be converted into bank, which will improve reach and reduce the cost of credit, because NBFC credit is expensive, because NBFC cost of borrowing is higher. And the other is NBFCs have become large. So if they are governed like banks, that will be good for the system as a whole also. So from increasing credit as well as from stability of the financial system, converting large NBFC into banks could be a good step now.
Okay. And before we go, this one point, Mr. Shah, I see in the recommendations that the FICCI wants abolition of anti-profiteering provision in the GST law. Now, how is this going to help?
See, ultimately, we talk about ease of doing business, and part of ease of doing business is make it easier for the markets to operate. And especially for anti-profiteering, it was required at that time when GST was introduced. In fact, I remember it was introduced with a clear caveat that this is only for the next 1 or 2 years, where because GST rates are changing, that immediate change should not result in any profiteering. Like for some item, if the GST rate has fallen, the companies should pass it on to the consumers and not profiteer out of that. But even at that time, it was envisaged that after a couple of years, this clause is not needed because the market will do its own work. If there is enough competition in the market will make sure that companies' profits are capped, because any company, if they are trying to excessively profiteer, the competition will reduce their profits for them. So we need to allow the markets and the regulations to do their work rather than have one more agency out there. Because as you know, in India, we have a lot of agencies looking at how business is done. There is no need to have one more agency which also looks at anti-profiteering as a result of GST, because it was required when the transition happened. Now we are 3 years into the transition. I think that anti-profiteering body has outlived its original objective. Even at that time, it was controversial. Now I think after 3 years, there is no need for that.
Okay. Mr. Panda, Mr. Shah, Naina Lal Kidwai, as well as Dr. Suri, thank you so much for joining us and sharing with us your insights on what you feel the budget must offer. Stopping for a short break. Do keep watching all the news and updates right here on NDTV.